here's where I think we're at. I take a lot of notes. I probably schedule meetings, bi-weekly or bi-monthly meeting with the chief cops.
Okay.
And I'm gonna have a conversation with him about everything that we've discussed. Okay?
And it's all up on YouTube.
And what I would like to do is to also say that what you're asking of me today, and I'm going to summarize what I think I hear.
Okay.
And I've heard that you would like to do a ride-along, but this is not about the ride-along. It's about everything that started with Meredith. I think I understand that. Okay?
Okay.
So that's where I'm going to go from here.
Absolutely.
And then I'll get back in touch with you after I meet with him, and we may sit back down and have a meeting.
That's fine.
Good morning, Mr. Newman. How you doing today, sir? I'm good. Hey, listen, if you remember, we had a meeting back on March 29th about 5 months ago.
Yep.
And during the course of that meeting, you told me I'll get back to you. Yep. Now, it's been 5 months, and not only have I seen you run from me when you saw my vehicle out in front of the building, but you've refused to come out on several office visits. Now, I'm keeping my distance from you so you don't think I'm a threat. I'm just here to get some accountability and ask you, first of all, I just want to find out why you felt you didn't need to respond to me in any way. As you told me you would in the meeting, you would follow through. And then I wanted to find out, essentially, if you are the typical lying politician. So,
Well, let's get clear, I'm not a politician.
well, you are a government servant, right? Do you work?
I am a contract employee.
Do you consider yourself working for the people?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Can you answer me then why you wouldn't get back to me? Because I've emailed you. I've been to your office on numerous occasions. I've seen you out in front. I watched you look at my vehicle, turn and walk around the corner. I saw where you parked so that I could come and ask you personally and catch you in the morning because I figured you'd hide in your office continually from me. So is there any particular reason why you chose not to get back to me?
To be honest with you, I've had a conversation with Chief Cox.
Okay.
And your request for a ride-along has been denied.
No, I understand that. But we had a whole conversation. It wasn't just about a ride-along. We had a whole conversation about the issues I've had with HPD. And during the course of that conversation, and I'll paraphrase here because I don't remember the exact quote, but I have the video. During the course of that conversation, you told me I have like a bi-monthly meeting with him or something like that you mentioned, and you said, I will get back to you after my meeting. Now, that was 5 months ago.
And I apologize for that.
Okay. I just wanted to find out, did you get a chance? You talked to him about the issues?
Well, yes, I have.
Okay. Was there any resolution about it at all?
My main concern was your request for a ride-along.
Okay, so not the threat for filing a false report when I was filing a complaint against an officer, not the harassment, not any of the other issues that I brought up as potential issues. Your main concern was my ride-along request, my 28 ride-along request?
Yes.
Okay, what about the other issues? Are we not interested in those, or are we just not going to deal with them?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't know that there has been a proven case that you've been harassed.
There's footage where I'm threatened with charges for filing a complaint against an officer. When he says, when I find it unfounded, I'm going to charge you. That's a major pointer. I mean, I've got videos up there where you can see Officer Meredith, or Meredith as I call him, specifically lying and then perjuring himself on the stand, saying he didn't shine his light in my camera. See, this is the problem, is it's not one little thing that I could let go. It's a whole bunch of things. I talked to you about it, who claims to care about my concerns, and just like the meeting I had with the city attorney, acting chief Hargett, honorless Hargett as I call him, as well as the Sergeant Welsh, who's since retired, nothing comes of it. I mean, there's no response. It's just government shutdown and ignorance. And I consider that to be unaccountable. So that's why I figured I would come and try to talk to you today, since I can't get you out of your office and I can't catch you in front of the building, and ask you, regardless of proven cases, you can see the video where any logical, reasonable, and prudent citizen of the United States, Henderson, Kentucky specifically, could say, hey, I have some concerns about the honorless police department, as I call them, more specifically the command staff, not so much most of the street officers, whom I feel most of them do a decent job. but the command staff. So I would think at the least, as a person who claims to be about my concerns and the public's concerns, at the least, you would be more concerned about that than any ride-along request that was denied that I only put in because I knew they didn't want to answer me, and so I put in 28 of them. I would think at the least you'd be more concerned about that and at least address it, not tell me, oh, I only talked about the ride-along request, that was my only concern really, not any potential harassment, not any possible issues, nothing else like that. So I would appreciate it if you could address those issues, because I believe I have videos up that show exactly what I'm saying.
On your
on my YouTube page. Absolutely, sir. I have the video where Officer Meredith approaches. Now, he no longer works here, but this shows mentality of some of the officers at HPD, and I believe some of those officers receive that mentality as a trickle-down economics thing, where it comes down from the command staff, who have also, in my opinion, shown themselves to be both unaccountable and liars. I have him lying, and then lying on the stand. I have Major Pointer telling me that he's going to charge me with false reports for filing a complaint against an officer, which technically wasn't a complaint, but it wasn't an addendum or an amendment. Then I have Honorless Hargett, when I'm falsely arrested for standing in front of a sign that reads "No public access beyond," I have him standing there stating on his body cam, which I made a video of too, it's up on my YouTube, I say we tow his car. Now, my car was lawfully parked. The only reason why he said that was out of retaliation. It shows the mentality, and he's one of your command staff. So if that's the way he acts, how do you think some of the others act up there? And who do you think learns from that? The street officers. So, and if you remember, all of this was, and I don't mean to block your path, sir.
You're not.
Okay.
You can walk and talk.
Okay, that's fine. And if you remember, all of this was brought up to you in the meeting. Now, granted, I don't know you, but before I started making videos where I said this is a typical POS, I wanted to come talk to you. And since every time I've come to the office, I couldn't get you out, and when I've seen you out in front of the building, as I've mentioned, you've basically scattered, I figured this would be the only way to have a conversation with you. Oh, excuse me. And since you do work for the city, and you are a government employee, I figured this would work out fine. But I don't want you to think I'm threatening you, or I'm a threat to you. I'm trying to hinder your walk or falsely imprison you or anything else.
You don't. Let's just get that up front. I'm
Okay.
not afraid of you.
That's good, because I'm no threat to you, sir.
And
I don't want to injure anybody.
so
I just want accountability in government. I don't think that's too much to ask. And I believe when we don't ask for accountability, when we let things like this go, and we don't get a response 5 months later, and we don't come and question why, I believe what we're teaching the government is that they don't have to be accountable to us in any way. And we can voice our concerns and our dissent, and they can ignore us. And I don't appreciate not even receiving a response. I've emailed you several times since then.
I have received your emails,
Okay.
while quite lengthy.
Well, the last one was pretty short. The last one, basically, I stated, thank you for confirming my belief in public officials as to them being unaccountable to the people. And I figured at the least, you didn't have to be a long email back, but just following through on the conversation that we had, and maybe addressing the issues that I have on YouTube that I gave you in a very lengthy conversation that we had.
Let me tell you.
Yes, sir. That I gave you in a very lengthy conversation that we had. And, I just figured not following through tends to be the typical response of government. So that's why I figured I'd try to catch you out today and have a peaceful conversation with you and just bring up some of these things again and try to get you to mention them, address them, speak with the HPD about them. Now,
Are we talking specifically about you or everybody?
both. Because you know what? There are other people that I talk to who have the same issues, who receive the same responses from government, where they have issues with the police department who is basically unaccountable, they feel, to the people they claim to serve and protect, who has a regurgitated mission statement up on there and seems to fail at it at almost every step when you consider the command staff's mentality. And then they come to someone like you and they say, hey, listen, I'm not saying every police officer is bad, but there's bad. There are bad officers and there are bad command staff, I believe, at HPD. So I would appreciate if you address that. And we have a whole conversation with you about it. And then we leave. And per your own statement, we expect some sort of response. 5 months later, 5 months plus a day or two, I would say, I believe it was March 29th, no response, nothing. Just absolute silence. We come to the office, we try to reach our politicians or government workers, whatever you consider yourself, they hide from us in the offices. We see them outside, turn their face, and they run. So it's about me, but it's about a whole lot bigger issue. And so I figured I would come and I would ask you specifically to please address those issues with HPD and please get back to me this time. Is that possible?
Are you aware we have a new police chief?
I am aware.
And are you aware we have a new deputy police chief?
I am McKinney from the state police, I believe. Yes, sir, I am aware of that. However, excuse me, you still have honorless Hargett up there, as I call him, who wanted to tow my lawfully parked vehicle out of retaliation and vengeance. You still have Major Pointer up there. You can't threaten somebody for filing a complaint and tell them when I find that complaint unfounded, we are going to charge you for filing false reports. That's intimidation. These are all issues that have been documented. Interpretation only goes so far. There is some gray area sometimes, but other times there's black and white. And regardless of whether you agree that there's an issue, I brought them to you. I feel it's your job, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's your job to investigate, it's your job to talk to them, it's your job to address it and ensure that they understand that they can't do that. And it's your job to follow through with me and get back to me, sir. And I don't think that's asking too much.
Okay. I will go back and look at your emails, and I will try to respond to your emails.
Well, you don't have to respond to my emails if you will just address the issues and bring it up to them and let them know that that's not the way to act. If you want to watch the videos, you can go watch the videos. They're on my YouTube. Absolutely, sir. There's one called Honorless Hargett. There's one called Threaten with Charges for Filing a Complaint. There's Meredith's video where it shows what he said and then what he said in court. There's a court video of my whole trial where I defended myself against a false allegation of not using my turn signal.
And you were found innocent.
Absolutely, I was. I don't need responses to old emails. I'm coming to you today and asking you, address these issues with HPD. I'm not asking people to be tarred and feathered. I'm being logical and realistic here. Address the issues with HPD and actually follow through with me, a private citizen who's contacted you numerous times about the issues. Actually follow through and get back to me and at least let me know. I have addressed the issues with them. I believe the problems should be dealt with. If you have any more issues, let me know. It doesn't take an hour-long email. That's all you had to do.
Okay.
Is that fair enough, sir?
Fair enough, Mr.
All right, sir. You have a nice day.
You too. Have a good week.
You too, sir.
Now here's some background information you'll need in order to completely understand what's going on in this video. This is both a long narration and a long video. You might want to listen to this though, so you know what the hell is going on. Feel free to skip ahead, but don't skip this then whine about something already addressed in this narration. Please and thank you. First, a little background information about the ride-along requests that I submitted. I wanted to see if the Honors Police Department would feel compelled to officially respond to my request for a ride-along. I submitted one request in 2018 and never received a response, so I decided I would submit more. I submitted 28 more, then finally received a response I expected. I didn't care about the specific response, only that a logical one was given. It never really was, in my opinion. But okay, I won't lie. I did consider it comical to submit almost one a day for a month. They may not have found it comical, but I did. Next, I had a meeting with the city manager. I explained in detail what issues I believe are occurring with the Honorless Police Department and what issues I have experienced. During the course of this meeting, which took place on March 29th, the city manager specifically took notes and documented all issues I mentioned. He was also made aware of the videos I have on my YouTube page and all details relevant to the meeting. He also told me he has meetings with the chief of the Honorless Police Department and that he would get back to me after the next meeting. He admitted he knew this wasn't just about a ride-along. He admitted and confirmed his knowledge of such by claiming he would speak with the chief, Cowardly Cox, regarding everything discussed. 5 months passed, and during that time, to my recollection, I made several trips to his building and requested to speak with him, as well as sent numerous emails. Now, he claims my emails are long, which is true considering the conversation we had was long. The totality of the issues is an in-depth one, but that is irrelevant here. I also showed up to his building for other reasons and saw him outside or around the building. I watched him notice my vehicle, then immediately turn his head and start fast walking away. I have videos of all of my attempts to contact, as mentioned, though I don't feel the need to add to this already long video. The point is, I never received any sort of response from him, per his word to me in our meeting that I would. Based upon his lack of response, an apparent attempt to avoid me, I decided I would alter my approach since he obviously was going to continue to avoid me. I observed where he parked, and then waited for him to arrive to work. He is a government official and claims to be concerned with citizens' issues, and his job is to ensure certain things in this town. Everything I just explained is how I got to the point of making this video. Now for a couple comments about this video and his statements. Notice how he claims he thought the meeting was about a ride-along only with the honorless PD. Contrary to the fact we had a conversation about everything, which took approximately an hour and a half to my recollection, during which time he took constant notes, and his own statement from March, quote, "But this is not about the ride-along. It's about everything that started with Meredith," end quote. Then notice how at one point he claims he doesn't believe any harassment or any other issue has taken place. Then admits later he hasn't watched any of the videos, nor in any other way investigated, nor even considered my issues. To me, this logically means he dismissed the majority of the meeting without any further investigation, didn't even mention it to the useless command staff of the honorless PD, then came to the conclusion that government and police typically come to, which is, quote, "We investigated ourselves and found we did nothing wrong. Nothing to see here. Move along, you pesky sheeple citizens," end quote. Sorry, Mr. Newman, but that lends to my belief in a lack of accountability both in government and the city of Henderson specifically. Mr. Newman asked me if this was about me or everyone, to which I responded both. It is about everyone also, because I doubt very seriously I am the first to have any issues with government, police, and unaccountability of alleged public servants, specifically in Henderson. I am simply the only person apparently in Henderson that gives them the well-earned shit about it. To my knowledge, anyway. If there's anyone else, good job. To be fair, I can't judge Mr. Newman as a person since I don't know him personally. I can only judge him by the few interactions I've had with him. He was polite, respectful, and handled the situation well in my opinion. His reasons for that are his own, and I won't speculate about them. However, his claim that he thought our March meeting was all about a stupid ride-along is contrary to his own admissions during the previous meeting. If you say you're going to do something, follow through. If your word isn't worth shit, neither are you. You apologized, so I'm fair enough to accept your apology, sir. But if I apologize for an alleged crime in your crooked, hypocritical, and unjust system, or to your chief, if I actually believed I had wronged your worthless, honorless PD, do you think they would say, "Oh, okay, buddy, we'll just forget anything happened"? I think you know the answer to that, sir. One thing I forgot to mention to Mr. Newman. I don't necessarily support this request, as it would waste taxpayer money for a department that in my opinion is run by cowards, hypocrites, liars, and honorless thugs whom act out of retaliation and believe themselves unaccountable. However, I was made aware of this request and meant to bring it up for comedic sake at the least. So here it is. Some of the older vehicles' paint jobs are horribly fading, cracking, and peeling. The request has been made to do something about that. There, now Mr. Newman is aware. And yes, I did edit this video for time, as I try to keep most videos as short as possible, so of course it's edited. Most of us have short attention spans for YouTube viewing. However, the main gist and all statements made are not edited together to create and fabricate new statements. This is what happened. This part's just for the cop haters. There are decent people working in law enforcement and government. However, in my opinion, they are normally not in a position to affect any sort of positive change in any persistent way, and eventually they often also simply fall in line to keep their jobs and gain promotion. I dedicate this video to all the bootlickers, sheeptards, and copsuckers. Your kids may wake up one day to find that your complacency, negligence, bootlicking, groveling, copsucking, and always obey mentalities has created for them a world of asking for permission for everything, and kneeling to their masters in government and law enforcement. You are the worst enemy of your own best interests. Fucking idiots. If you managed to listen to all of this, congrats.